Well, hi there. Today I'm going to be drawing a picture of my kids Oscar and Hazel in ArtRage. Stick around. Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to be working in ArtRage, and like I said, I'm going to be drawing a picture of my kids Oscar and Hazel. Now, I'll quickly tell you about Oscar and Hazel. Oscar is 10 years old. He's almost 11. He'll be turning 11 in a week. And he is just a goofball. I love this kid so much. He reminds me of a little me. He's got tons of energy. He's super creative. He's funny. He has this laugh. When he finds something funny, oh my gosh, his laugh just makes everyone in the room crack up. He loves video games. He plays Minecraft. He's actually starting a YouTube channel, so I'll include a link for his YouTube channel in the link below if you want to check that out. He's going to be a good subject for this. He's really goofy. I've drawn him many times before, but I wanted to do a picture of just Oscar and Hazel being goofs together. Hazel she's also kind of a little bit goofy. She's got a really sophisticated sense of humor for her age. She's 7 years old. She's very creative. She loves crafts all day long with the crafts, and she's a girl after my own heart. Like when I was a kid, I used to love to make 3D things, and she's also just a little sweetheart. She loves just doing things that are nice just to see people happy. She's such a sweetheart. So that's kind of Oscar and Hazel in a nutshell. So today I'm going to be drawing a picture of the two of them, and I'm going to be working in ArtRage, and I want this to be quick. I don't want this to take me 6 hours. Obviously, I would love to be able to spend that much time on, an illustration of my kids and to make it just awesome. But I want to be able to do these daily doodles in kind of a really quick, snappy way. So my goal is to take less than an hour on this picture, even less if I can manage it. So I want to make it look good and interesting, but without spending lots of time on the fiddly details. So I want it to be, by its nature, to be a little bit messy and haphazard. So without further ado, let's dive in and see how this goes. All right, here we are in ArtRage, and get rid of my palettes here, move stuff aside, get my layers out. Okay, so look, I want them to be kind of like goofing around together here. So I want them to be really close together, like Hazel on one side, Oscar on the other. Their bodies kind of like really close to each other. Maybe Hazel's hugging Oscar and Oscar's like just being a goofball. He's got like his hand on Hazel's face or something like that. So that's kind of the general vibe I'm going to be going for here. So let's dive in. I'm going to go kind of a little bit of a bean-shaped heads here. I'm not going for any kind of particular style, just kind of a mix of all the different kind of styles I do. I think in Illustrator's got to have a variety of styles in his kind of toolkit, depending on the project and depending on kind of the vibe that he's going for. And to be able to kind of pull them together and mix them together, that's where you find your unique style, I think. And that's the basics of Hazel's head. Let's do something for Oscar. So we've got messy hair that hangs down in his face. All right. Yeah, this is the right idea. Okay, that's pretty good. Oscar's got the Squidward nose going. That's okay. And I try and capture their personalities through their facial expressions. Hazel's just a big sweetie, but she loves to goof around. She loves her brother. They love each other so much. I'm so lucky to have kids that just like take care of each other and care about each other. I like this eye's a little in the way. I'm gonna put in her mouth first and then in a bit. You want your sketch to be loose and quick. You don't want to spend too much time on the sketch, but if you can't make the sketch work, you gotta spend the time and make sure that the sketch is, you're happy with the sketch, or else the picture, it's not gonna turn out. If you don't have a sketch you're happy with, your picture is not going to come together in the end. Okay, that's pretty good, I think. Hazel's got super long hair. We've never cut her hair. So her hair has been growing for 7 years now, and it's getting pretty darn long, and she doesn't want to cut it. And I don't know if we should make her or if we should just let it keep on growing for a little while. She loves her long hair so much, and so do we. It took a very long time for her hair to start growing. She was a little bald baby for the longest time. All the other kids around her had like full heads of hair, and she was still a little baldy. So her hair finally came in, and it's kind of like, well, we waited so long for her hair. It's kind of like want to let it just be hair. Okay, I'm gonna have their bodies kind of crossing over each other, and Hazel's gonna have her arms around Oscar, and Oscar's gonna kind of just be being a weirdo. What should Oscar be doing with his arms? I'm gonna think about that as I finish the sketch of his head. I'm going to resize this a bit. Getting a little too close to the edge. All right, Oscar's gonna be kind of just looking off into space, and Hazel's gonna be looking at her brother and kind of laughing and hugging him. All right, Oscar's gonna be having his arms hang down beneath him, like he's just got a bit of a zombie look on his face, and he's just acting like a complete goof, and Hazel's hanging off him, laughing her head off. There we go, and I think I'll give him maybe some sort of a background, quick little frame to hold them in. Something like that, yeah. I like it when the part of the character goes off the frame. Bring this in even tighter. I think I'm gonna give Hazel a ponytail. She often has her hair in a braid at the back. Sometimes it's just a big messy pony, and that's what we're gonna be doing today. Little big messy pony. The Oscar and Hazel, they're outside playing right now. It's the first beautiful spring day that we've had since probably, since the winter has kind of receded. It's sunny, it's warm, they're playing outside, they're in shorts. I haven't worn shorts in the longest time. So nice. All right, put Oscar in like a striped shirt, and Hazel will be wearing a tank top, I think. All right, that's good enough. We're gonna call that good enough for the sketch, I think. Okay, that's good. Let's lock the transparency on this. There we go, and I'm gonna bring down the opacity. So I want this to be very light. I'm gonna actually darken the lines so that they're pure black, I think. Let's figure out the colors for this thing. Now, I think I'm gonna want just kind of a light greenish, beige-ish color in the background. Yeah, something like that. I'm gonna use the brush tool, and use some paint and kind of just some messy paint to be my background object. And I think I'm gonna mix a few different tones in there to kind of get just a little variation happening. Okay, and let's get a nice crisp eraser, and we're gonna carve away the edge. We want this to look kind of like a piece of cut paper behind them. You know me, I love to make kind of cutout style art. I've actually made a tutorial on the way I make cutout style art, so that's going to be linked below if you want to check that out. You're going to see a little bit of that action happening today. There we go. Let's scrape around those paints and colors to create some unexpected kind of textures and tones. Come back in with some darks, I think. Scrape those around. And I think I'm gonna come in with some scribbles. I'm gonna scribble in some kind of crayon textures, and I want this to look like a piece of scrap paper or something that was just found in the trash. And we're gonna scrape that drawing around with the palette knife too, and just kind of crud it up, make it all messy, scratchy. All right, good enough. Now we can come back to that in a little bit if we want to. Let's move on to the characters. I gotta keep the goal in mind. This has to be quick. I don't want to spend 10 hours on this. This has to be fast. Okay, so we're gonna go with that as the skin tone, I think. Yeah, that looks good. Get a basic shape for the head. You know what? This background is not dark enough. It's not contrasting enough with my skin tone, so I'm gonna come back in with some more darks on this. Just gonna airbrush in some extra dark greens, and maybe I'll come in with a little bit of brush work. Scrape it around. Okay, back in with my brush tool, and let's finish the shape of Oscar's head here. Oh, you know what I might do? I might make the entire actual outside of this like a really dark color, even like a black. Yeah, let's make it black. We can change it later, but it's gonna have a good look to it, I think. Yeah, isn't that cool? Makes it hard to see my sketch now, so I'm gonna come back in and paint the sketch with a gray, especially around the outside, just so I can actually see what I'm doing. And finish Oscar's skin. Good, and let's do Hazel's skin. This isn't quite colorful enough. There we go, that's better. Let's add some more color to Oscar. Don't want him looking too pale. He is pretty pale. I have some pretty pale kids. Go right off the bottom of the background piece there, and we'll do the same with Hazel. Hazel's body has to be behind Oscar, so we gotta make sure to keep these organized. I'm going to create some groups here to keep the pieces of both of these guys kind of organized. Okay, good enough to get started with, so let's add on some hair for Oscar. Dark brownish hair. Oscar's got straight brown hair. It was blonder when he was a kid, and it's just like I did. I had blonde, straight hair when I was a little kid, if you can believe that. And it was about grade 7 or 8 when my hair kind of started going wavy and curly. I didn't like it. I didn't like that my hair was becoming difficult to manage. and very kind of fuzzy and messy. And it wasn't what I was used to because my whole life I had straight hair. And so I tried to like keep it straight. I would wear like a hat, put in some hair gel, and just try and make my hair flat and straight the way that all the other kids were. And my mom was always trying to convince me, oh, let your hair go wavy. It looks so nice when it's all wavy. And one time she took me for a haircut and she talked me into it. She said, just like, why don't you just ask the hair guy to cut it in a way that it looks good when it's kind of wavy? I said, okay, fine, let's do a wavy. And oh my gosh, my hair just poofed up into this little afro. It was so fuzzy and tight little curls that it actually looked like I got a perm. And I had to, my mom, she picked me up from school to get my hair cut, and I had to go back to school with this new curly haircut. And I had an in-school suspension this day. So I was in trouble and I wasn't allowed to talk to the kids or play with the kids. I had to hang out in the principal's office. But as soon as I got back to school with this curly hair, I had to walk into the classroom to go and get my books from my desk. And so I walked in the classroom with this curly hair. The entire classroom went dead silent, including the teacher. Everybody watched me with this curly little afro on top of my head. And I walked to my desk and got my books, and I walked out. And I wasn't allowed to talk to anyone for the rest of the day. And obviously the rumors started flying that Andre got a perm. I couldn't squelch those rumors until later on in the day. It took a lot of convincing to convince everybody that I didn't get a perm, that my hair actually is like this. I just never let it do that kind of thing before. Eventually the truth came out because, you know, they saw that, okay, every single day it's like this. But oh my gosh, that was I'll never forget that moment. That was quite a experience for me to go through. I wasn't a bad kid, by the way. I had an in-school suspension just because it was the teacher that I had. She did not like me. She found any excuse to get me in trouble. I was a bit of a class clown. I wasn't like malicious or, you know, vandalous or bad. I was just kind of goofy. I like to goof around, and she didn't like clowns. She was very straight-laced and very, I don't know. She just had it out for me. I'm convinced she had it out for me. Okay, good enough for Oscar's hair, so let's do some Hazel's hair. Hazel's got kind of a light brownish hair, blonde-ish kind of girl's hair, so we'll just see what kind of colors we can come up with. It looks like Hazel's head. Have this other piece of hair behind her head be on a layer behind her head layer. Let's do the same with the back hair. Keep all the background hair on the same layer here. So anyway, I'm convinced that Oscar's hair is gonna go wavy and curly like mine, and it's gonna happen at the same age. Oscar looks exactly like I did at his age, and even when he was a baby, when I was a baby, I looked just like Oscar. So I'm pretty sure he's gonna have to deal with the the curly hair when he gets a little bit older. Might happen soon. Might start coming in soon. We'll see. It might not though. I'm the only one in my family with curly hair. Like, you know, I didn't get it from my father, maybe a bit from my mother. She's got a bit wavy. My brother has straight hair, so he might not get it. Let's put on some face details onto this goofball here. And let's get these eyes on, because the sooner we get on these eyes, the sooner everything will start to come together. His face is still too light. I don't want any whites in his face. I want it to be like a light peachy skin tone color, but I don't want it to be white. The 3D-ish paint effects in ArtRage are a blessing and a curse. It's cool that they pick up the highlights in the ambient scene like as if they were real paint, but it also makes them a little harder to work with, when to choose just the right colors, when the colors that you paint on the canvas actually end up being darker and lighter at the same time by picking up shadows and highlights from the ambient light in the picture space. Okay, so let's get some eyeballs for this goofball. This guy's got kind of greenish, bluish eyes. I like to do big irises on drawings of kids. There's just something kind of more cute about having those really big irises. Now lock the transparency on this bluish iris here, and I'm gonna paint in some darker tones to kind of just give it some variation. Again, I've made a tutorial on how I approach drawing and painting eyes, so that'll be linked below as well if you want to get a few extra tips on how I handle lots of this sort of thing. Also, if you're not subscribed, now's a good time to mention that. I do lots of tutorial videos. I also do lots of drawing videos, little technique discussions. So, hey, if you're getting something from this, make sure you're subscribed. And hey, while I'm plugging my channel, I might as well ask you to share it as well. Every little bit helps. I'm trying to grow here. It is a slow process growing on YouTube. So I've learned. And that's pretty good. I'm gonna put a little bit of a shadow underneath his eye, just a little hint of it. I want this to have a little bit of a, not like a cut paper feel, but a little bit of that. I actually find it hard to not do cut paper style when I'm working, because I do it so much. It's just become such a part of everything that I do that it's actually hard not to do it. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Let's give his little, underneath his chin, a little bit of a darker cast from its head. That'll really make that pop. Okay, good. I think that the background color that I have is way too light now that I'm getting the extra colors in there. So I'm gonna just come in with some, I'm gonna experiment here with a really dark. Do we go with blue? Do we go with green? I'm gonna go with like a yellowish green. Just like a dark version of the original color that I chose. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Something like that? Yeah, I like that. Let's do that for now, and we can always change it later. All right, let's finish Oscar's face here. Which layer is which? Where did I put that nose? There it is. Okay, let's draw on a mouth. Little dimples on the side. What do you call those? Those gotta have a name. Those little folds at the edge of your mouth. Okay, let's finish the details on his hair here, and let's give him some eyebrows while we're at it. Maybe the eyebrows need to be on their own layer. Yeah, let's do that. This hair to be super messy. Well, so far so good. I have been working for 30 minutes, and my goal was to keep this under an hour, and I feel like I'm on target, so we'll see where I land when I'm done. And give him some eyebrows here. Floating eyebrows, just right over top. Doesn't matter. Just slap them on. Okay, Oscar's face is done. Let's move on to Hazel. I want to make Hazel's eyes and hair kind of pop a little bit. I don't know if I want to go for more of a collage feel. I'm gonna start working in that direction, and we'll see where I land, but that's kind of the way I'm feeling right now. I did Hazel's mouth kind of open here, which is gonna be harder. It's always harder to do an open mouth because you gotta do the whole shape of the inside of the mouth and the teeth, or it just doesn't look right. Okay, so Hazel's open mouth is gonna be kind of like this. I'm gonna give her a kind of lighter outside of her mouth. Then I can put the details on the inside. Just stop it right there. She's got kind of big teeth right now. At that awkward stage where her teeth are kind of big and sticking out. When your adult teeth first start coming in, they're like a little too big for your mouth. Yeah, something like that. Okay, let's color the inside of her mouth like a dark red. All right, good enough for that. And let's finish off her mouth a little bit here. We'll give that little dimple at the side, draw on a nose. Yeah, that's the right idea. Don't love it, but like I said, this has to be a quick picture. It has to be something that kind of slap out quickly, so I can't get too hung up on every little part. The problem that I have with these is I get too meticulous. Hazel's gonna be looking at her brother. Nice big irises and pupils. There we go. Do the same with Hazel's eyes, add some details into them, make them messy. Okay, this is coming along nicely. Very happy with this so far. There's things I would love to be able to spend a ton of time on, like that mouth. I'd love to be able to put tons of detail into that, but I'm specifically trying to keep this quick. You gotta draw the line somewhere, so that's where it's gonna be drawn today. Speaking of drawing lines, I'm going to come in and draw some details in her hair now. Hair's gotta be messy too. She's got a big mop of blonde hair on her head. I don't think I'm gonna put in the ear that I drew on her. It's just gonna be tucked under the hair, I think. Give her some eyebrows, darker color than her hair. Like that, pretty good. All right, I'm gonna take a quick break to go warm up my coffee and check on the kids. They're playing outside. I'll be back. And we're back. Okay, let's finish this up. I say that as if it's a quick little thing. We are not nearly finished, but we're making good time. How long have we been working for? 45 minutes. I got 15 minutes left to keep it within my goal. Let's see what we can do here. Put a ponytail on this hair here. My layers are all messed up, but I'm not going to take the time to fix them under a deadline. A self-imposed deadline, but it is a deadline nonetheless. Let's get those bodies on these goofballs and see what we can do to finish it up in the proper time. I'm gonna lock the transparency. Oscar's gonna be wearing a blue shirt, I think. Actually, let's create a new layer for the shirt, I think. Something like this, yeah. That's the right idea. And change his pants color. Let's make it a darker blue. Oh, we're actually painting on that layer. That's okay though. Good enough. And let's finish off Oscar before moving on to Hazel. Arm has gotta be coming out of here, hanging down like a goof. We're not gonna spend a ton of time on this hand, obviously. Hands can be done in so many styles, but sometimes just a bunch of simple fingers flopping out of a noodle arm, that's all you really need. Like that, let's get those stripes on that shirt. Stripe, 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 stripe. Good enough, good enough. I think that's the motto of the illustration today. Good enough. But really, isn't that the motto of all art? If you think about it, aren't we all just saying good enough? It could always be better, can't it? Let's see what a little bit of a shadow underneath all this stuff looks like. Yeah, I'm carving away the background here. I like it to be a little tighter on the characters in this one, I think. I'm gonna select the background object and then I'm gonna invert the selection so that I can come in and delete everything outside that little background shape. So like Hazel's body, for instance, and then we'll do Oscar as well. Delete this stuff down here. Perfect. So it looks like they're kind of coming out of the bottom, but then popping out of the sides. They're constrained only on one edge. Add on some more shadow here. If you want to know more about my philosophy for these drop shadows and the way to make things look 3D, definitely check out that tutorial. I explain it in way more detail than I could ever explain in a video like this. There are some helpful tips and tricks that I kind of do along the way, that little things I've learned that really help the effect to be believable. Okay, so let's finish up Hazel, and we're gonna call this done real soon. Where am I at? 10 minutes left. 10 minutes. I can do this. Coffee break. Need my sketch back. Let's draw some arms on Hazel. We're gonna have to have one in front of Oscar, so let's create a layer right in front of Oscar's layer, just for Hazel's arm. She's gonna have a tank top on. That's what she's wearing today, and she was really happy that she could finally wear a tank top because it's so bright and sunny and beautiful outside. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, how am I gonna do this hand? We're thinking I'm just gonna put on some fingers. 1, 2, 3. Good enough. Good enough. I gotta have some fingers over top as well, like she's grabbing him on the shoulder. Yep, that gets the job done. We'll add on her tank top. What color tank top? Her tank top is white today, and I don't want to paint that white in here, so I'm gonna make it kind of a peachy, orangey, pinkish color-ish. Yeah, something like that, and that's fine. I'm actually wearing shorts today, and it has been way too long since I've worn shorts. This has been a long, cold winter this year. It hasn't been particularly snowy, which is nice, but it has been cold. And what kind of shorts should she be wearing? Maybe a dark green, like the color of the background? Let's see how that looks. No. Let's go red, like the color of her mouth. I like to tie in different parts of the artwork together. So if you can, if you're choosing a color, you're like, what color should I do there? You just look elsewhere in the picture and see if you can grab a color, so you can kind of just have some repetition of the color themes you got going on. Scrape that around just to get some texture. Ooh, I lost all my texture without that scraping. Make that smaller. There we go. Okay, good enough. Let's add some shadows on Hazel's arms here, and I think we're almost done. And we're gonna be on to final touches. The final touches stage is the best stage. I'm sure I don't need to tell you, I'm sure, but the when you put on those little things that make everything kind of pop and come together, that's like the funnest part of the illustration. You put in the work, now you're just polishing things off and you get all the reward. Get rid of that sketch. I think we're done with that entirely. Our chin, nice dark shadow. I want it to look like it's popping up. Let's do Oscar's chin as well and give it a darker shadow right at the edge of the artwork here, just to make it look like the cutout characters are kind of lopped up away from the page a little bit. Think about your 2.5D space. Again, I've talked about this in the tutorial before, but the way it works is you have the 3D space of your picture, and that's an imaginary space that you're creating with the lines and shapes in your picture. And then you have the 2.5D space of the actual physical picture, which is the distance that things are away from the page that you're working on. Rather than creating a sense of depth with your perspective that you draw in the picture, you're creating a sense of depth on the actual surface of the page itself. I had my shadows pop out a little beyond the edge here. Got to fix those up. Okay, pretty good, pretty good. What else can we do? How much time do we have left here? A few minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. Let's make Oscar's eyeballs, I think both of their eyeballs actually pop a little bit more. There we go, and Hazel's too. One little part of Oscar's hair that's bugging me right up here. You can see his skin through it, so let's fix that. Might as well add a bit more variation to his hair. It'd be a nice touch, I think. Add texture and sloppiness after you've already done all the work of drawing on the parts. That feels like Oscar's messy head. You know, I want to go back into that the entire background and add on some of those scribbles that I was initially putting in with my crayon, but I actually painted over top in the end. Messy scribbles here. Should we add some light scribbles too? That'd be cool. And scrape it around just a little bit. Okay, one thing I want to adjust is just a little bit of details on Hazel's mouth there. I want to add some more detail around the teeth. They look a little flat and cell shaded compared to the rest of the picture. This is the kind of thing that I'd love to be able to spend a ton of time on, but the goal of this was to just do something kind of quick. So that's what we're doing. And just add a bit of variation on the inside of the mouth here. Yeah, that's the right idea. I think I'm gonna add a little bit of variation on the inside of their skin, just a tiny little bit. A little bit of texture I think would go a long way here. So let's do just that. And Oscar too. Down a bit and smudge it up. Okay, are we calling that done? That's the question. Is there anything else we need to do? Yeah, one quick thing. Oh gosh. There's always one more thing, isn't there? I fixed this little bit of Oscar's nose here. Okay, that's it. We are calling that done. We're calling it right there. Oscar and Hazel. Let's zoom in and give it one last look. And that brings us to the end. Please let me know in the comments below. What do you think of my Oscar and Hazel picture? Did you like this kind of style of video with me talking while I'm working? Or do you like the kind of more showcase style videos where I shut up and I do the illustration and I put on some music or something over top of it? I'd love to hear from you down there. And while you're down there, click the thumbs up button if you like the video. Click the thumbs down button if you dislike it. Subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos. And as always, thanks for watching.